Lately, it's become glaringly apparent to me that the American people have forgotten something important about the way this country works. The federal government is not your boss, and they have no right to tell you what to do. In fact, precisely the opposite is true. And when it becomes clear that our elected representatives are acting in a manner that does not fit with the wishes of the American people, it is our patriotic duty to fight back and remove them from their positions. Now, let me be clear. Violence is not the answer, and as we've seen recently, it's actually counterproductive to our efforts. The war that they're waging on us is an economic one, and if we're going to fight back, we're going to need to use their own weapons against them. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your host, and this is Loose Threads, a sub-series of The Unified Theory. As I detailed in my last video, we are witnessing a conspiracy between Wall Street and Washington to defraud the American people and steal your money. It's gotten so bad that alleged Indian princess Elizabeth Warren, who has built her entire political career on pretending to stick up for the little guy, has suggested rolling back the stock market to undo the losses suffered by billionaire hedge funds at the hands of unsophisticated Robinhood investors. But politicians colluding with investment firms to screw over the average Joe isn't anything new, and politicians have been profiting off of the inside information their positions give them access to for as long as the stock markets existed. Remember back in February of 2020 when it was revealed that North Carolina Senator Richard Burr had sold more than $1 million in stocks based on information he'd received about the approaching pandemic? The stocks Burr sold were all from industries that would take the hardest hits once the outbreak became public knowledge and included restaurants, hotels, and the shipping industry. To add insult to injury, it turns out that Burr decided to dump his holdings less than a week after publishing an op-ed assuring his constituents that the country was well prepared for a pandemic. And Burr wasn't alone in his pre-pandemic shenanigans. Senators Kelly Loeffler from Georgia, Dianne Feinstein from California, and Jim Inhofe from Oklahoma were also investigated by the SEC for similarly shady deals, and unsurprisingly, all of them were let off scot-free. Loeffler, Feinstein, and Inhofe were exonerated in May of last year, and Burr only a month ago in January 2021. Now it appears that there is another call for investigation brewing for some questionable trades that were made much more recently by a much higher profile individual, who it seems also found a way to make a tidy profit from acting on privileged information she had access to due to her political position. I'm talking, of course, about our current Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. What a babe. Reading from Brittany De La Cretaz's article on Yahoo Finance. In December, Representative Pelosi purchased 25 call options of Tesla stocks along with a few other stock purchases. Why does this matter? Because under the Biden administration's new agenda with its focus on environmental protections and combating climate change, Pelosi could benefit financially from these political plans. President Joe Biden is currently encouraging the purchase of electric vehicles, and that could mean lifting the cap on sales, providing tax credits to buyers, and a potential program incentivizing people to trade in used vehicles to buy an electric one. Biden also announced on Monday that he would be replacing the entire fleet of 645,000 federal vehicles with electric ones. This could create a conflict of interest, as part of Pelosi's job will include working to pass these environmental and clean energy initiatives from which her family now stands to profit handsomely. According to the disclosure, Pelosi, or her husband Paul, who runs a venture capital firm, purchased call options at a stake price of $500. Since the calls were bought last month, shares of Tesla have risen from $640.35 to over $890. The call options are now valued at $1.12 million. They were purchased for between $500,000 and $1 million. This is not a partisan issue. And our elected officials, whose first priority is supposed to be the well-being of the American people, are more concerned with lining their own pockets while handing you a measly $600 stimulus check. Let me remind you that these are the same people who have made it illegal for many of you to work for the past year. What makes this all the more infuriating is that the money that they're giving us was our money to begin with. We earned it, not them. And it's our tax dollars that are filling their coffers so that they can enrich themselves illegally while the rest of us struggle. It's time to stop feeding the troll. I urge every person seeing this video to call and email your senators and representatives and demand a RICO investigation into these matters. In the meantime, I'd encourage all of you to stop filing and paying your taxes until such time as it can be proven that your money will no longer be used to fund illegal activities like these and others. 22% of all the currency ever minted in the history of the United States was created in 2020. Wall Street hedge funds made billions in profits while you and I were locked down, and these corrupt politicians have the audacity to demand that you send them a portion of the tiny amount of money you do have so that they can continue to break the law to enrich themselves while you and your loved ones suffer. Enough is enough. It's time to stop complying. You can't drain the swamp without pulling the plug. Thanks so much for listening. I'm your host, and this has been The Unified Theory.